let's go to the fourth part. So this, Gary Waddleton, is your section. This is all about transfer value, because we've just calculated the financial value of a business, right? Math doesn't lie. We've used market multiples and we've used classic valuation methods, which I showed you. We've looked at how the structure of the deal can change the valuation based on 40 deals that I and proteges have done, and how closing payments and valuations impacted each other. We've then looked at those 40 deals in terms of seller psychology and how the calculated MUD scores and the calculated RLEV scores combined, the kind of sense of the seller psychology and how they are in terms of the deal, how that translated to price and structure. Now let's look at transfer value, because even because a business has got a financial valuation, psychology might change it, the structure of the deal might change it, all that's well and good. But if you can't transfer that business to somebody else, it's got zero value or liquidation value. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's go back to the valuation method we used at the start. So we looked at that business and we thought it was worth $1 million, give or take, using the EBITDA multiple method, right? And we also calculated what the liquidation value of the business was. So for the seller to shut the business down and liquidate the balance sheet and walk away with the cash, they're only going to get $400,000. So if we're valuing it at $1 million in terms of the total equity value, let me just go back down to actual size, then we know that that $600,000 difference is the goodwill. And we can break goodwill down into 4 pillars: customer, employee, structural, and social. And what's amazing about this is we can measure what they are and how it's going to impact the value. So all of these pillars, if you've got a business that's got phenomenal customers, right, phenomenal, then that would drive the valuation up. It would make it a best-in-class business. But if it's got like really bad employees, that would be a value killer. That would lower the valuation. If it's got great structural capital in terms of its systems and its processes and its KPIs, again, that would make it more of a best-in-class business. That would drive valuation. But then if it's got poor social capital, so a bad reputation in the market, a terrible brand, a terrible culture, that's going to kill and erode value. But we can measure all this. So here are the value drivers that I use for customers. I'm looking for diversification of customer base. I don't want any business with more than 25% of its revenue concentrated with one customer. I like recurring revenue. Recurring revenue is a good thing. I like customers with a long tenure and with long-term contracts in place. And I like a business where that target co, it's an integral part of the customer's operation, so that the customer can't just swap and change and go to somebody else. We're baked into a supply chain, or we're baked into a process, or we're really kind of important to the way our customers do business. We're more partners than kind of customer and supplier. When I'm looking at employee value drivers, I'm looking at what's the talent and the competency of the employees in the business. I'm looking at their experience, and I'm looking at their tenure. How long have they been there? I'm looking at their management skills, and is there any ongoing training? And then is there a middle management layer in that business that if the owner leaves, the middle management layer can run the business without the owner being there? And then I want to gauge, do they have real solid customer and market knowledge? Are they experts in their fields? We also look at structural value drivers. So again, I don't want the owner to have to be in the business. I don't want the owner to have to be in the business for it to work. If the owner's part of the business day to day and the business isn't going to work if the owner's leaving, that's a killer of value. I want all the SOPs and processes to be fully documented. I want systems and KPIs in place to drive performance. I want to see leading and lagging indicators that they're monitoring weekly inside of their operation. And I want all the customer relationships to be owned separately to the owner. I want the team that's going to be left to run the business for me to own all the customer relationships. I don't want the seller to own them, because if the seller leaves, there's a chance that some of those relationships won't get handed over properly. And then the social value drivers that I look at are, does this company have a strong culture? Does it have a strong eternal brand and reputation in the marketplace? Does it have raving fans versus customers? Are my customers constantly referring new customers to this business? And has it won any awards? And what you can do across those 4 pillars is you can score them 1 to 6. 1 would be, it's a really bad business, it's going to kill value. 6 would be best in class, it's going to drive value. And then the average would be somewhere in between 3 and 4. So let's look at 2 businesses, business A, business B. Business A scored 2 out of 6 on average. Business B scored 4 out of 6 for customer value. For employee value, business A scored 3 out of 6. Business B, 5 out of 6. Structural value, business A scored 2 out of 6. Business B, 5 out of 6. And then social value, business A scored 2 out of 6. Business B, 4 out of 6. So which is the strongest business? Which business has more value? Let's say the 2 businesses are identical, both doing $2 million in revenues, both making $700,000 in EBITDA. One scores 37.5% on the transfer scale. The other scores 75% value on the transfer scale. Which business has got more value? It's business B, right? Because it's hitting higher marks on those 4 pillars of transfer value. And what the Exit Planning Institute do, which is really, really cool, is they show you how to calculate, which is amazing. So if this is a normal distribution curve of valuations of businesses based on how all those metrics score. So if you're up here and you're absolute best in class, anything north of 72% transfer value, you're going to be paying a 50% premium at least to buy that business. Sometimes 100% if this is like the best business in the world, it scores 6 on everything, you're going to be paying a lot of money for that business because the owner's probably not going to be motivated to sell, or there's going to be a lot of people want to buy that business because it's best in class. Most businesses are average. So generally between 45 and 72% classifies an average business. If your transfer value is between 58 and 72%, then there would be no adjustment for transfer value. You just apply the industry average multiple. But between 45 and 58%, you're going to be applying both first a 25, then a 50% discount to that industry average multiple. Anything below 45% transfer value is an automatic liquidation value only business. And the Exit Planning Institute have researched this over hundreds of thousands of deals, not the 40 deals that I've done. And where they've analyzed all those deals and the transfer value has been less than 45%, in virtually all cases, the seller had to liquidate the business because there was nobody there to go and buy it. There was no value in that business to be transferred to a new owner for that premium. But if you really want to take your valuation skills to the next level, you'll need to know how to implement everything that we have just learned. So that's exactly what we're covering in the next video as we wrap up our valuation series. Watch that video right there, and I will see you guys soon. Until then, bye for now.